Hello everyone and welcome to another LEGO Star Wars review. Today we're going to take a look at a set from the 2015 range of LEGO Star Wars products, and this particular set comes to us from the animated series Star Wars Rebels. Now I want to give a big thanks and a shout out to the guys over at Norton & Co and the LEGO Group for providing these sets for a review. Once again, as I mentioned in my Micro Fighters reviews that I gave you a look at previously, thanks to Norton & Co and LEGO, I'll be giving you a look at a ton of 2015 sets, and that does include sets from the upcoming movie The Force Awakens. We have no word yet on what those sets are, what they'll include, but rest assured, based on what we've seen from trailers and all that sort of stuff, especially coming out of Star Wars Celebration, there are going to be some really fun sets to look forward to. So with a bit of luck, I'll be able to give you a look at most of those, so stay tuned this fall for all of the Force Awakens LEGO Star Wars reviews. In the meantime, as I mentioned, we're going to take a look at a set from Star Wars Rebels, and this particular review is going to focus on this one. Set number 75082, the Inquisitor's TIE Advanced Prototype. Now, again, if you've been watching my channel for any period of time, you'll know I'm a huge Galactic Empire fan. I love Imperial Walkers, I love Stormtroopers, and I love TIE Fighters, and this particular version is no exception. You may remember I gave you a look at the Hasbro version of the Inquisitor's TIE Advanced Prototype not so long ago. In my opinion, this set completely blows that out of the water. Obviously it's hard to compare LEGO and Hasbro side by side, but in terms of value for money, in terms of what this actually includes, it's an awesome set, and I'm really happy to be able to share this one with you. In terms of sort of retail details, that rhymed. This one currently retails for $39.99, I believe, and it consists of 355 pieces, so a nice substantial build, and again the final product just looks fantastic. Really cool TIE fighter, really cool design, and just an all-round awesome set. So this is of course the box that this one comes in. And once again, like with most LEGO sets, this one has some fantastic artwork on the front. As you can see, we've got the Inquisitor's TIE Advanced Prototype there being chased down by the Ghost. And down in the corner, we have images of the minifigures included in this set. Now, all three are new, and there's one in particular that I really can't wait to show you. On the back of the box, we have a rundown of the features that this one has. It's not particularly gimmick heavy, but there are enough there to keep kids and adult collectors happy. And as you can see, there's some action shots down the side as well. So that is the box that the TIE Advanced Prototype comes in. Now let's take a look at the set itself. And as always with these LEGO reviews, we're going to take a look at the minifigures first. And as I mentioned, there is one in particular that really grabs my interest. And it is of course none other than this guy, the villain of the piece, the Inquisitor. Now obviously, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Season 1, the Inquisitor didn't last as long as we thought he would. During marketing and promotion for Star Wars Rebels before it hit, it was assumed that the Inquisitor would be a long-running protagonist. However, or antagonist, sorry, protagonist means hero. You learn something new every day with these reviews. So yeah, it was very surprising to see the Inquisitor, quite frankly, disappear as quick as he did at the end of Season 1. Again, I'll not go into any details for those of you that haven't seen it, but yeah, a little bit disappointing. I was hoping to see more of this guy. Needless to say, however, LEGO did a fantastic job with this minifigure. In my opinion, this is everything that the Hasbro version of this character should have been. He comes with some awesome accessories. The design of him is really good. Just the overall execution of this particular minifigure just makes him, in my opinion, one of the best, not only from the 2015 range, but one of the best minifigures in quite some time. Now, I'll run through our accessories and all that sort of stuff first, and then we'll talk about some of the printed details and all that sort of stuff. So first and foremost, as you can see, he does come with his very unique lightsaber, which is a brand new sculpt. As you can see, you've got the hilt at the centre there with the force disc around it, and then you've got the two red blades at either end. Now obviously, like with most LEGO lightsabers, the blades can be removed from the hilt, and one really cool aspect of this minifigure is the fact that you can proceed to take the hilt and clip it to the Inquisitor's back, just as he does in the series. Now this is a really cool way of storing the lightsaber when this guy is behind the cockpit of his TIE fighter prototype, and yeah, it's just a really cool feature. Definitely something that should have been incorporated into the Hasbro release, and I'm really happy that LEGO decided to include it on their minifigure of this character. One of the cool aspects of this guy is the fact that not only do we have a separately sculpted chest piece, which as you can see features those awesome shoulder pads with the Imperial logo, but we also have a removable helmet as well. Now obviously the Inquisitor only wears this during his flight in his TIE Advanced prototype, but it's a really well sculpted and very unique looking piece. Absolutely love the design of that. Looks very medieval and very cool. Now one aspect of the helmet that I really like is the fact that rather than painting the red visor to the head of the figure underneath, LEGO went as far as to include red plastic in the visor, which I don't believe is something they've ever done in the past, and it really does, it makes a world of difference to the overall look of the figure. It just looks awesome. And again, I'm really happy that they decided against painting a red visor to the head of the figure underneath and leaving that empty, just so you complete the look that way. Now obviously the helmet is removable, and underneath we have a really cool printed head. Now this is one of my favourites for quite some time. You've got an awesome look to this character. You've got those menacing yellow eyes, you've got the evil grimace on his face, the textured Utapauan skin, and those dark side tattoos as well. Obviously you've got torso and leg printing as well. The torso printing just replicates what we've seen here with the separately sculpted chest piece, but it's nice that they included it nonetheless. So all in all, an awesome figure, and I'll be back to give you a look at the Inquisitor in just a little bit as I place him at the helm of his TIE Advanced. So moving on, another figure included in this set is this guy, the Imperial Officer. Once again, a brand new figure and really cool. What I really like about this guy is the fact that he doesn't come in the standard grey uniform. He's got this really tanned brown look to the uniform, and it just adds a little bit of diversity to the Imperial ranks. Now one thing I really like about the print work on this guy is the fact that LEGO really did pay a lot of attention to detail to some of the characters in the animated series. If we remove the cap, as you can see on the face, we do have that sunken in cheek, we have those bags under the eyes, and if I didn't know any better, this is probably based on one of the characters. Now I forget his name. I believe it was one of the Imperial Taskmasters. I know there's Grin, who is the big brutish guy, and then there's the other guy, the skinny, sort of dweeby, cowardy guy. And I can't remember what his name is, but he gets the cut at the hands of the Inquisitor as well. And again, if I didn't know any better, then I'd say that this particular minifigure is based on him. If not, however, it does make for a great generic Imperial Officer, and the overall look of this guy is very cool indeed. As you can see, you've got the really cool uniform print there on the torso, including the rank code and the cylinder in the pocket. You've got the Imperial cap, which we first saw with the Imperial officers in the Star Destroyer set, and we've also got a small blaster pistol as well. So a very cool minifigure indeed, and he's going to look awesome on the bridge of that said Death Star. Death Star? Star Destroyer. What am I talking about? So that's a very cool figure as well. And finally, we get none other than a TIE pilot. So obviously, if you want to have the Inquisitor running around on the ground attacking Jedi and causing all sorts of chaos, then you can stick this TIE pilot behind the cockpit of the TIE Advanced prototype instead. Now, one thing I really like about this guy is the fact that LEGO have updated the design of the TIE pilot to replicate the animated style of Star Wars Rebels. So you've got that very arched mouthpiece on the helmet, you've got the really cool eye sockets or eye slots there, Imperial cog emblems on the helmet. The helmet piece itself is actually the same one that's been released numerous times before, but the print work has been updated to, resemble the Stormtroopers and all the other Imperial troopers that we see in the animated series. So obviously you've got that animated style to them. On the torso there, you've got the chest plate and the apparatus there for the flight in his TIE fighter. So we get a blaster pistol included as well. and obviously a removable helmet, which does reveal a clone head underneath. So a great variety of minifigures included with this one. Despite there only being 3, these are probably the 3 best minifigures that you could have included with the TIE Fighter. And I'm really, really happy, especially with that Inquisitor minifigure. And as I mentioned, I'll show you him again later on in this review as we see him behind the cockpit of the TIE. So moving on to the TIE Fighter itself, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so you can capture this all in shot. Here it is. Awesome, awesome looking set. This thing has a fantastic design to it. One thing that I actually like more about the TIE Advanced prototype than the TIE Advanced X1 that we see in Episode 4 A New Hope is that the design itself is much more sleek, it's much more streamlined, and as I mentioned in my Hasbro review of this vehicle, I don't know why this is the prototype, because in my opinion anyway, this would have been a much better fighter than the one that we ultimately see in A New Hope, piloted by Darth Vader. As you can see, that sleek design is incorporated at the back. Darth Vader's design obviously has a much more elongated back panel. The wings are much bigger and bulkier, and this again just feels much more sleek, much more compact, and just a little bit cooler. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the review, there aren't a ton of gimmicks or features with this particular TIE Fighter, but we do get all the necessary ones, such as an opening cockpit, which can be accessed 2 ways. We have the screen accurate way through the top, and we have the playability way, which is at the front. So obviously you can access the cockpit in one of 2 ways. Depends on ease really. For me personally, I find it easier to access the cockpit through the front there. As you can see, we've got a control panel for the Inquisitor to hold on to. If we take our Inquisitor minifigure, just bear with me while I position his arms to sit down, you can proceed to slot him inside, like so. Now, there aren't any studs inside the cockpit that can clip the Inquisitor in place. It's just a sort of smooth piece, which just allows him to sit inside, which is probably a better way of doing things, I suppose. You don't have the trickiness of trying to attach his legs to any studs inside, and for the most part he does look very cool inside there. We've got a red translucent piece as well to obviously replicate the targeting screen on there, and the Inquisitor here himself looks really, really cool behind the cockpit, especially in the shadows, like so. So really, really cool in that respect. Other features that this TIE Fighter has are of course flick-fire missiles, which are basically the norm with most LEGO Star Wars sets these days. These flick-fire missiles are located just underneath the cockpit window, and rather than being flicked manually with your hand, if we come around the back of the vehicle, LEGO have incorporated this really sort of ingenious way of firing the missiles. As you can see, you've got this disc at the back. Oops, premature firing there. We do have a disc which does indeed spin like so, and as you'll have just seen, at the bottom of that there is a rubber buffer which, when you rotate this one of 2 ways, it catches the missile at the back and fires it out. And as you got an idea of there is some decent range on these missiles, but I'll just show you the second one as an example. They really do fire out quite fast. The final feature that this vehicle has is of course fold down wings. Now, one slight complaint that I do have about this set is the fact that when you sit this one down on a surface, the wings aren't particularly sturdy, so it will tend to like fold in on itself, which is a bit of a shame. It would have been nice if there was some sort of display stand or something like that included, but it is something that I couldn't look past. I mean, for the most part, I'll probably be displaying this one in landing mode with the wings folded. I suppose that's the point really. One thing that was mentioned in my Hasbro review, I forget who it was, but someone commented saying, do the wings even fold in the series? Because I don't remember seeing them, and quite frankly neither do I. I'm assuming that this is just something that's been done for either playability, or it's something that we're going to see later on down the line, or it may have even been seen in one of the episodes. I can't remember off the top of my head. But obviously that's a much more compact way of storing the vehicle. For me personally, this is how I display it landed, like so. But obviously there's no argument that this thing does look much cooler with the wings up, like so. Now you have some really cool details on the rest of the vehicle. Some are printed and some are stickers. We've got some technical detailing there on the wing, obviously the cockpit window and the cockpit hatch. We also have some more technical detail on the wingtip, just there. Oh, that's the wingtip, my apologies. Not really 100% sure why little red arrows like this need to be stickers. It would have been much better if they were printed in place. They were quite fiddly to apply, and there's one on the other side as well. And then these stickers at the back are to be applied as well. Obviously the printed details are on the hatch, the cockpit window, and on those side panels. But you know, application of stickers isn't a major issue, not for me anyway. I do tend to make them quite wonky sometimes, but for the most part it's not a major problem. There are 2 more stickers located on the top as well, but other than that, no major issues with the vehicle. It's an awesome looking design once again. I absolutely love this. Far superior in my opinion to the TIE Advanced X1. A very cool starfighter, and I really hope that we get to see more of it in Star Wars Rebels. Obviously throughout Season 2 we'll be seeing more Inquisitors, so it'll be interesting to see what vehicle of choice they use, but hopefully these TIE Advanced prototypes do pop up a little bit more often, and it'll certainly be interesting to see whether Darth Vader pilots one of these himself. Obviously with this being the predecessor to Vader's TIE Advanced X1, it'll be interesting to see whether or not Vader gets behind the cockpit of one of these. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look at this one. Once again, this is set number 75082 as part of the 2015 range of LEGO Star Wars products. Once again, retails for $39.99, 355 pieces. Awesome looking set, really recommended. And again, if you're a fan of the Galactic Empire, such as I am, then you'll really want to add this one to your collection, especially for that awesome Inquisitor minifigure. So that's going to wrap up this review, and I hope you enjoyed having a look at this set. Again, I'll be back with tons more LEGO throughout the year, and I've also, coming up next, got some really cool Hasbro action figures to give you a look at, so stay tuned for those. Until next time guys, thank you for watching, keep collecting, and as always, may the Force be with you.